Hello, everyone. This little guy here in the corner is me, Joel Clark, creator of Lone Wolfist. Anyway, so we're working on Hexcrawl stuff today. I wanted to actually show you guys the amount of progress I've been making on it because I've been a little quiet recently. I've just been kind of like quietly putting the game together, and I'm really happy with it. I decided to crowdsource the name. I was either going to be Transcendent Brutality or Brutal Transcendence, and the Discord spoke, and it's Brutal Transcendence now. So I've got a nice little piece of art that was originally going to go, I think, on the GM screen from Kazuki, and I really love this bit. I like his take on these characters a lot. I think he makes them very characterful, and I really like this weird underground labyrinth ruins looking thing. I think it's really evocative, and it's really dark too, which I like. So that's cool. So yeah, I've got a nice little image for it there. I've got actual setting, which I don't usually do, but I do actually have setting here, and a book intro, and I've got the timeline, and yeah, I actually plotted out where I wanted all the different things to happen in this hex crawl. And I'm trying to be really efficient with the page count here. I would like to release this as a physical product. I think I'll do a little like $1,000 Kickstarter for it, something really small. $1,000 would probably be enough to do not an offset run, but it would pay for the art assets and editing. Those are the two things I have to pay for. I have to outsource art because I can't do art. I have to outsource editing because you really shouldn't edit your own stuff. And I'm back to the point where I'm able to contact Albert a little more frequently. So that's nice. And he said he was interested in trying to work on this in Acid and Steel, so I kind of got him lightly on board. And he's the guy who edited Lone Wolfist. Albert Lim, I think is his name. I think I didn't butcher his name. Sorry if I messed that up, Albert. But yeah, he's a cool dude, and he's a very good editor. And yeah. So anyway, yeah, I've actually got a lot of stuff done. So I've got the actual way that you run these things as a GM here. I've got urban crawls, hex crawls, tunnel crawls for the more dungeon crawly aspects of the game. So those are really nice, and you can see I've like broken them down like they were like point by point. Like here's this, then you do this, then you do that. So they're real like plug and play during the game itself. I've got all the different regions blocked out here, and the 5 cities. And if like this is the actual region info, so I've got all those done now. There is, I want to say, the intro to the tunnels is not done, but you can see it's page after page of these lists, and these are basically lores, like in the core book. You're meant to use these whenever you need additional information and content that isn't listed in a given entry. You just use these to fill it up, and there's lots and 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 lots, and they give you all kinds of cool stuff. There's some really intense design in some parts of this. The jungle part it actually took me a couple of weeks to get right because I wanted to make sure it did exactly what I wanted it to do. And this has got a lot of little moving parts going on. But all these have a reason to go there. These different regions have like a different type of play that they tease out of your players. Some of them are very challenging. Some of them are a little more like cakewalks. Some of them are more about resource management. Some of them are more about big fights. You'll just have to play and see. But yeah, see, the underground part needs its intro, and everything else is done with that part. It's actually one of the first parts. First regions I got done was the underground bit, because I wanted to make sure I knew how that worked. Then I've got the actual hex map, which I've actually got 2 of these brought up. I've got this one and then the original art asset for it, which I made personally. I didn't do that in Hexographer. This was actually put together via me and my own ability to do different little art things. So I don't owe nobody for nothing on that one. Maybe a YouTube tutorial. And then the hex entries, and this is what I've been working on recently. I decided not to worry about writing the intro to this. I'm not feeling it right now, but I am feeling these guys. You'll notice I've just got like nonsense text here, but actually I have real text in these, and this is all based on the Carcosa. I think it's Greg McKinney who did that one. I'll have to look that up, but yeah. The Carcosa that was done for Limitation of the Flame Princess, it had a bunch of these hex entries, and they were 2 example entries in each one. So of these 200 hexes, there are 400 hex entries that I'm going to have to write down. And these aren't just random. Again, I want to make it clear that I am building these regions, all of these different regions and the cities, and all of that stuff, and I'm programming what they're supposed to do into these hex descriptions and also these region tables. So this is beyond what I expect a GM to be able to do. I think this is kind of like high level design stuff at this point. But I want GMs to have an ideal example of like, okay, if you got to just run in like the official, World of Ashes and Ghosts, what would it look like? As like, what kind of components do you need? How would you use them? And so, yeah, I wanted to give you guys lots of rules tech and lots and lots and lots. You're looking at these, you notice I've got it all blocked out here. Lots and lots and lots of examples. So this is what I'm going to be working on for the foreseeable future as I fill that up. I actually have, most of these are pretty simple. I'll give you an example one. Some of these just have the names of the city that's there, but I actually have representative ones. Yeah, like this one here. This one has a large village of 400 human gold miners, led by a degree 3 radioactive scorpion, and it gives you an idea of what they're about. And then there's an Aravata meditates deeply here in a deep circular pit filled with filth. That's it. This is a monster and a village. And almost all of the hex entries are like that. They're really, really simple. They're meant to be 2 of the 5 fields that are within each tract represented by a hex. And there's also additionally 2 secret fields within each tract. So there's a lot going on there. And most tracts are going to have an entrance to the underworld too, so you can also go to the tunnels below the world. So that's how everything connects. It's not a ton for each individual one, but collectively there's a lot of stuff. It's a very, very big place. So plenty for your adventuring heroes to go and punch through. I've got some of the early design. I'm probably gonna clean this up a little bit before I get too super deep into finalizing this. I like the general. This layout's a little bit cramped. Generally, I like it, but it's a little bit too busy and noisy. Even with the additional sheets I've tacked onto these city sheets I've got here, there's a little bit too much information density here. It's not quite as user friendly as I like. So I'm probably gonna polish that up a little bit. But generally speaking, and of course this is gonna be real art, not just like a copy paste. But or not real art necessarily, but it'll be it won't have these little artifacts. But yeah, so we've got key NPCs, the relationships between things, not necessarily NPCs, but definitely those two. A master encounter list with 100 different bullet points, which you can either fill up with a bunch of individual, really detailed things, or you can do demographically, like 30% of this is sharks, 70% of this is camels. Whatever. It's a sharks and camels desert. It's a desert shark. Yeah, there's little city facts over here that kind of give you an idea of the character of the city in general terms, that kind of spice everything up whenever you're describing it, and kind of have a quick idea of it in your head. The different populations that are in the city and what they're about and how you can get involved with them. The different districts, which are the different tracts within it, and kind of an idea of what they do and what gets done there. What they're about and what gets done there, in terms of change, and then who lives there. And then I've also got field generators for all of those things. So if you have to generate a random field, you can do so, and it's congruent with the rest of the city. So yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff going on there, and these are just additional sheets for more districts and more fields and more NPCs and etc. More populations. Then, oh yeah, these are more hex descriptions. I think I need to fix this. I don't know why, but you can see how these format where for some reason the end of this page has decided to bleed over into the previous page. I don't know why it does that, but for some reason it just decides to connect them really weirdly. I had to go and fix a ton of pages earlier, which the kind of formatting stuff slows you down a lot. Some NPC stuff. I've noticed I don't really have to write a lot down for an NPC. You now know, this is the whole stat block for the Fist Bastard, which he's a 7th degree hero. He's a really powerful boss, right? But you know his stats because you know what a 7th degree strong hero stats are. You know what these kung fu are. So that's it. You know, his weapon is his hands, so you don't need any additional stats for that. So it's really kind of staggering how much you can compress into, or how much information you can compress whenever you have, like, you know, really good reference. So having a little monster manual moment with that stuff. Speaking of monster manual moments, bestiaries. I made a bunch of new monsters for this. I might wind up making new kung fu too. I really should, because I've got a bunch of different ideas for kung fu clans or minor clans that don't have their own kung fu yet, and yeah, so I'm probably gonna make some more stuff with that. But yeah, I made a bunch of nasty bug monsters. Those are all bug monsters. Some of these reference stuff from the core book. Some of them are completely unique creations, like the Tetsumushi or the Kabutomushi Tenno or the Kusaike. Those are all totally unique. Or the Kanchuninjin, the Bugmen, or the Ishinagai, the giant centipedes. Yeah, so you can see I've been busy. I have been doing stuff. I haven't just been idle. It's just that I have to. Oh, and I've got bounty hunter rules, and I have to be balanced when it comes to working on this stuff. And I'm trying to only work on this whenever I'm excited about it and I have a good idea for the next thing. And I try to walk away from working on it when I still kind of know what's coming next, and I'm still a little bit excited at least. Because, like, you don't really want to scrape yourself dry, I find, with this stuff, or you burn out. So, unfortunately, it's not as speedy as I'd like, but I'm really happy with the progress. I got 5 hexes done yesterday, and I also pioneered, let me show you what I did here. I also pioneered a way of doing the hexes and what I'm going to put in them. So this is one thing, and I'm using the other thing as a backboard for my mic here. And you can see, ta-da, that I've got like a lot of ideas and such written down there. And this is just a method for giving me ideas and making those ideas into something that I can actionably write down in a reasonably accurate way. Because I've noticed that I can write ideas down rapidly in paper, but I don't write them down rapidly if I'm typing them. So I write them down on paper rapidly, and then when I'm typing, if I have reference in paper, I can type reasonably rapidly. So my plan for the rest of today, in addition to, I've got a thing that I'm doing with Mildra, and I've got to go to my kid's baseball game, but in addition to that, I'm going to do a bunch more writing and see if I can get the rest of these hexes blocked out today. And that'll be all of these northernmost here, desert hexes will be all done. Then I'm going to do the southern hexes, the desert hexes, and then once those are done, then I will have an actual region completely completed. So that'll be a kind of a milestone. We're just going to do that for all the different regions. We'll do that for the desert, the mountains up here, which are all these frozen wasteland places. We're going to do it for Fukai, which is this evil jungle. We're going to do it for the ruins. It's all these gray blocks here, and then for this toxic wasteland here, Vitriol Paradise. We're going to do it for that too. And then after that, my plan is to do the cities. And then after the cities, I was going to wrap it up with NPCs and monsters. And I think that's it. So to give you an idea of where the Hexcrawl is coming, where good old Brutal Transcendence is coming, we're kind of in the middle of it right now, but we're in a good place. We know what the future holds. We have a map to get there. It's just about actually sitting down and having discipline and doing the creative work of filling up these hexes and filling up these cities and like describing them and all that, which is actually kind of the fun part. This is sort of the part where as a GM, you get to have your good ideas and then just kind of develop them in a way that will be exciting and fun for your players. And I want to stay in that kind of mindset because I really want this to be something that I would use as a home game consistently, like for over a year. Like if I feel like if I can't get a year's worth of play out of an RPG product, the value ratio is off because these things are not cheap to make, right? Because I've not really put a lot of art in it yet, but it's going to have some art. It's going to have a cover, and like that, and it's going to get edited. So like that's not going to come cheap. That's going to be a moolah. So a little $1,000 Kickstarter seems reasonable for me. But I don't want to charge a ton for this either, like $15. It's kind of like the ideal price point I'd like to point out for it. I wouldn't mind doing the PDF for considerably less, like doing the PDF for like 10, like 9.99 or something, and then doing the actual product for like 14.99, 15, somewhere in there. I like those round prices, but those 99s also look kind of cool too. And there's something about somewhere in my lizard brain, 14.99 seems so much cheaper than 15. Like I want to buy that more. Maybe I'm dumber than my target audience. That's been a consistent issue for me. Anyway, I just wanted to get on here and ramble, which I did for too long. Okay, well, I'm gonna get back to work. Thanks for hanging out with me, and if not before, I will talk to you guys next month. All right, take care and keep fisting.